For almost 10 years now, my daughter has had this teddy bear with her in bed every single night. This is Tedward the teddy bear. The problem is that over the 10 years, Tedward has had his fair share of wear and tear. The fabric around his neck and his belly are one harsh hug away from. So lately, to mitigate the risk of Tedward the teddy bear becoming Headless Ted, my daughter has begun placing him on this pillow as a makeshift bed. However, I've been informed that this simply will not do. The solution is to make a bed for Ted. She has told me that she wants something that matches her bed that can go on the floor next to it so that they can have slumber parties together. So in comes the next issue, is that I have never built a bed, big or small. But after noodling it around in my head for a while, I figured, how hard could it be? So we're going to need a headboard, which I figure is going to be the hardest part to build. A footboard and 2 runners along the side. Then something to hold some sort of mattress, possibly foam. Then we're going to need to paint it white to match the big bed. And then finally create some sort of pillow, blankets, and sheets. So if we're going to make this bed and we're going to paint it white, poplar is our best choice for wood. I looked around my wood pile and realized I don't have any poplar. So I ran up to Home Depot and went to the lumber section. Dug around for a little bit and found some poplar boards. I picked up one 7-foot board about 5.5 inches wide, and then 3 of these little scrap things of poplar they had in like a little bin for $1.98 a piece. They're about 2.5 inches wide and 2 feet long. I brought the wood home, placed it on the bench, went to grab a saw and start cutting, and it was about that time I realized I had no idea how big to make this bed. Hey, Tedward, come here.
Did you call me?
I'm making this bed for you, but I need to know your measurements. So I don't make the bed too big, too small. I want it just right.
First of all, may I say a big thank you for building me a new bed and for considering my comfort. I am 22 inches tall and 9 inches wide.
Thanks, Tedward. I appreciate you taking the time.
You are most welcome.
So now that we have Tedward's dimensions, I figure we'll make the bed 24 inches long, 12 inches wide. So with the new plan in hand, I pulled out the 7-foot board and cut 2 1-foot pieces out of it. Then I took one of the shorter 2-foot boards and cut another 1-foot piece out of it. One of the larger 1-foot boards and the smaller 1-foot boards I'm going to glue together to make the headboard. So I put them both in the vise and pulled out my number 4 hand plane and planed both of the mating edges smooth, and then made sure that I didn't have any gaps, ran some glue across the 2 surfaces, and clamped them up. With that, I was done for the night. I figure I'll pick it up in the morning when the glue's dry. some rough shaping. I've got the headboard, the footboard, and the two side runners cut, smoothed, and kind of roughly shaped out. Now the next problem is I need to figure out how to get the side runners on the headboard and the footboard, how to attach them to kind of hold it all together, right? My initial thought was I could just drill some holes in the back and put some screws through. You could totally do that, but I'm extra, so I'm gonna go ahead and mortise and tenon these things together. So mortise and tenon is the process of you mark out a rectangular hole, square hole, whatever. Basically the female side of the hole, you put in your piece of wood that you want to join another piece of wood to, and you chisel out, carve out, drill out whatever means you have, drill out that hole. Then the mating tenon goes in the piece that's going in connect, that's kind of the male side, right? So that's the side where you really need to be cautious with. So you want to cut it to the exact size of the hole that you made in your mortise, but just a little bit, like I'm talking 1,000th or 2,000th of an inch, a little bit bigger, so it fits in the hole firmly. You want it to fit in and have a nice snug fit. So I've chopped the mortise and tenons for the footboard and the two runners. So the side here is going to be where the headboard goes. This is the footboard. Right now, there's no glue, there's no screws, nothing holding this together. This is just under tension. When we put this together for the final build, we're going to glue everything with wood glue. We're going to clamp it all down and it's going to become super solid, super strong. I'm going to do this side again on the headboard. It's the same process as you just saw me do on the footboard, just with the headboard. I just got to mark it out and get those mounted up so that it's looking nice. After a ton of work, I'm finally able to clamp the whole thing together. I used a piece of 1/4 inch MDF in the middle to like hold the mattress and just cut a 1/4 inch wide groove in both of these side rails to kind of hold that panel in place. So I've just got it dry clamped right now. On the headboard itself, I went through and just cut some decorative kind of squares out here, or rectangles, I guess that would be, and started to smooth things over a little bit. I still have a lot of sanding and stuff to do, but I want to add some like final details to this too before we get down to gluing everything up in paint. My daughter picked out some of these like decorative kind of molding type things, which I think I'm going to kind of run in between these rectangles just to kind of give it a little more definition. And then she picked kind of like this little mini crown molding type stuff, which I'm going to run across the top kind of and angle a little bit. That was stressful. So I got all the decorative like pieces glued up last night, clamped them, let them dry overnight. So I usually, when I go to do a glue up, I'll do like a dry run and clamp it up. And I had done that and marked all my pieces, A, B, C, D, like I always do. And then sanded it before I went to glue it up and sanded off all of my marks. I, for some reason, did not think about that. So I immediately put glue, I go to glue it up, I put glue in all my mortises, and I go to put in my tenons, and I go to put it in, and I'm like, I don't know which one goes to what. So I'm like, all of a sudden turned into frantic mode because the glue is now swelling these joints. It's soaking in those mortises, it's soaking in the tenons, and it's starting to swell the wood. And the longer you wait, the harder of a time you're gonna have getting those joints together. So I'm freaking out, right? I'm trying every different way. Eventually I got it. I figured it out. I had something backwards. I had like one board backwards or something and flipped it around. Problem solved. I was like, oh man. But then by then I was like nervous. So I put on 2 more clamps just to get pressure on the top and the bottom. And I squeezed the top and the bottom of the mortise and tenon joint so the tenon, everything closed up real tight, and I saw squeeze out all the way around. It's almost there. It's getting there. Almost there. Before you go saying anything, it's not sewing, it's upholstering, and that's a manly art. It's one of the 7 manly arts. I can upholster. Can you? So that's the story of Ted's bed. I really had a lot of fun building this project, and I hope that shows through the video. I put a ton of work into editing this one. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you made it this far into the video, I really appreciate you sticking around. If you enjoyed it, let me know down below. Comment, let me know. Just leave the comment, I liked it. And if you do that, I'll know you like this type of format, and I'll try to make more videos like this. It's definitely a lot more work than the normal videos that I do. I have to like really think that storyline through and bring it to fruition through editing and stuff. And it really put a toll on my computer editing this thing, but I really did have a ton of fun doing it. and researching the different things and finding that right music track and the perfect cuts and stuff. I really had a lot of fun with it. So let me know down below if you liked it or not. And with all that being said, subscribe down below if you haven't yet. If you've made it this far and you really enjoyed the video, subscribe down below. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps out my channel. Like this video, comment on it, share it out if you know other people that are maybe have a similar issue with their daughter's stuffed animals and need to make a bed for it. Maybe this will help them or bring some inspiration. Or it's just, how do you feel about your bed?
I love it. I love it.
I will see you on the next one.